Okay. Hope everybody's doing well. Come on in. Let me know where you're tuning in from, guys. We're just going to have a little powwow this evening. Have a little discussion as to what's taking place in our country if you're in the United States, and what's about to potentially affect all of those who live abroad as well. So as you're coming in, guys, let me know where you are tuning in from in the comment section. Let's talk about it. Let me hear where you're tuning in from as you're jumping on. Let me know where you're tuning in from as you're jumping on. Okay, Graham from Lebanon, Tennessee, welcome. Melton from Decatur, Georgia. Carlos from El Paso. Joshua from Ohio. Petra from Montreal. Northern Canada. Yeah, this is what I wanted to actually talk about, you know. Destin, Florida. Come on in, guys. Let me know where you're tuning in from. I want to share a post with you guys. Warren, hey, Warren from New Jersey. God is moving like crazy. That can't hide and lie anymore. Good evening from Pennsylvania. Melissa from Thank You. There we go. Cape Coral. All right. I'm going to pull this up on the screen, guys. I just want to share this with you. This was posted April the 6th. And I said, don't forget, riots on the streets is what was prophesied. Just as the stock market is expected to worsen, so will these protests. What did I say on April the 6th? Now, I was not prophesying. I was just simply saying I have been following the prophetic words from the prophets that I follow. And these prophets are the ones that have been saying that there will be rioting on the streets. So while we're seeing this kind of news that is everybody's, shocked about, those of us who have been following the prophetic word of the Lord are like, this is what we've been trying to say for the longest time. The rioting videos are wild. That's right. Volcanoes, earthquakes, military action, they were all right. That's exactly right. God said this for sure. Minnesota, Dustin, blessings. Gino from Demopolis, Alabama. Rebecca from Southern California, the outskirts of LA. Okay. Well, I'm telling you, I want to talk about the LA thing first of all as well. Haven't seen any riot videos yet. Well, you don't really need to. But then again, you need to. I mean, it's just ridiculous out there, guys. So first of all, I'm going to pull this one up just to show you. This is what's happening. They're waving Mexican flags. They have completely blocked off, the 101 freeway in downtown Los Angeles. The LAPD appears to be completely overwhelmed. And to clarify, the National Guard troops are only authorized to protect federal buildings. So the lawlessness that you're seeing across the city is the result of Mayor Karen Bass and Governor Gavin Newsom standing down to the mob. Guys, I remember Apostle Jonathan Stidham was prophesying and saying they want a civil war. That's what these evil doers in our society are trying to cultivate. They want a civil war. They don't just want riots on the streets. They want a civil war. Now, if you go back, let me see. Okay, well, I searched my Facebook for riots in the streets. This is this is anti-ICE protesters square off in California.
Jeffries standing up in front of the world and saying it's okay to kill ICE. It's okay to throw things at law enforcement officers. It's okay to do that. That's not okay. Not in America. We have rules. We have laws. When people are murderers and
they are attacking the ICE facility. They're attacking basically a law enforcement holding center. That's where they're holding immigrants, and these are our country's law enforcement. A local office there that is being bombarded by complete lawlessness. And you can see Pastor David commented on here, call our National Guard. Well, they did. The National Guard was sent out, but unfortunately, they can only protect this particular place right here. I think I was sharing that. Was I sharing? Could you guys see that video? And then another one that I wanted to show for those of you guys who haven't seen. And there's more. I'm just showing you the ones. I bet if you get on X, there are probably much more. But this is there was one. This was where they're burning American flag. There was one where they were oh man, there was there's been several police cars that they've just set on fire. One of the things I wanted to say, though, guys, is that I don't know if you remember this, but they did the same thing in 2020. They did the same thing in 2020. So here is a video of a post that I pushed. I watched a video of a man being beaten unconscious by rioters. I won't post because it was terrible. Just pray. We were experiencing some of this back in 2020. Remember, listen, these people, let me try to pull up. There was one post. Here we go. This is a good one right here, where they are inciting this stuff. Look, I said these people are flat out inciting riots. They do what they accuse Trump of doing. It's so sick and demonic.
A Nazi netball baby. A godless, lawless billionaire. This is an unprecedented moment, a constitutional crisis.
Well, I don't know how to fast forward it, but you basically can see, we will see you in the streets. We will see you in the streets. This has been, if you want to find out the slyest way to incite riots over a period of time without actually saying that's what you're doing, make these kinds of comments. We will see you in the streets. What? Come on. This is exactly what they have been wanting. This is exactly, and guys, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know how much more of this we're going to see, but we're about to see quite a bit according to what the prophets are speaking about. The shaking that is coming is just going to be, we're just going to be prophetically, it's almost as if what the prophets are saying, we're just going to be hit from so many different angles. And I think that a lot of people are unprepared for this, but this is why I have been sharing, almost like a conspiracy theorist, which I'm really not. And in fact, I've always kind of been against that, because I believe that, you know, a lot of people who get into that type of stuff, I'm not saying there's not truth to that, to some of those things out there, but it's like, you know, anyhow, it just wasn't my cup of tea. And so, however, Nashville, Tennessee, welcome, David. So these riots are prophesied to be linked to a pre-market crash. No. Not that I know of. Somebody might have said that. But basically, guys, let me tell you what I'm saying, and I already said it, is that we're supposed to be hit from so many different angles at once. Several prophets are saying we will be at war by the end of the year, guys. Several prophets are saying this. I want to show a post, if I can tell this. There was a prophetic word where did it go? There was a prophetic word. Oh, here it is. This is a prophetic word by no, that's okay. That's all right. Faustino says other prophets say no war. Who's right? Listen, I don't know what prophets you're following, but you know, this is why I talk about you know, the prophets that I follow, because they're all saying the same thing. And I've specified, and I'm well aware of how you know, and that's why people have often wondered why I've been so protective of my channel concerning, you know, what other people are saying about what crypto is going to be doing or not doing, because a lot of people don't understand that just because some people claim to be prophetic, or just because some people claim to have a dream, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's from God. And you know, and there are like what they consider immature prophets who can get things prophetically, but then they'll have Chinese food dreams where, you know, they've been enamored in their soulish realm. We talked about this on some recent broadcasts. So you know, that is a thing, and you have to guard your heart, and you have to make sure that you're not being contaminated by all of the flow and the fluff and all these things. But I want to tell you something. You know, Joseph Z is one of the ones that prophesied and said that XRP is going to be the most stable currency in the midst of the economic crash and the transition when they're converting the you know, the fiat currency over to the digital while everything's basically crashing, is also what Brandon Biggs has been saying. Remember, they're all saying the same thing. Apostle Joshua Giles is saying, you know, the market's going to crash. He's the one that even said, I don't care if it comes back tomorrow. He says, I'm telling you guys, don't believe it. And the crash that is coming is going to be worldwide. Worldwide is what they're saying. It's not just going to be, you know, the US particularly. The whole thing is changing. And So everything's changing. Everything is changing. And in my dream, everything is about to change. And then, of course, we had a lot of people comment and they said, hey, I really feel as though that means more than just XRP. I'm like, I am in full agreement. I am in full agreement. I absolutely believe that it means way more than XRP. So Prophet Charlie Shamp released a word about, he said this will be a year of blood and of fire. And he also said this for my church, it'll be a year of my blood and of my fire. So there's going to be bloodshed, basically, is what he's talking about. And there's going to be fires. And Joseph Z talked about Deca cities, 10 major locations where there's going to be fires that break out. Now, I want to point out something that I brought up earlier on the broadcast when somebody mentioned that they're from the outskirts of Los Angeles. So there we go. We got a lot of confirmation here. Kim Clement said the brothers of Goliath will cripple us for a time, but that we would roar back and they'd be astounded. Brandon said something about 10 cities too, and to pray for them. Well, listen, we got to pray for all of, no, I don't even know that they were mentioned. So guys, the reality is that we're on the cusp of just about a breakout of everything changing. That's the bottom line. That's why I titled the video, Everything is Changing. It's no longer about to change. It's changing. These riots are about to escalate, I believe, very fast. That's what I believe. And I just cannot believe these people, man. Like, these people are just straight up demonized. They're talking about, Maxine Waters is talking about how Donald Trump is such a bully. And it's like, man, listen, last time I checked, if you broke the law in this country, you go to jail. What on earth? Why are they trying to defend criminals? I mean, it's crazy. When you enter a country illegally, you are breaking the law. What? Like, this whole compassion, false compassion is really what it is. That could be translated into every other arena. I could go rob a bank and be like, but I needed it for my family. Maxine Waters, where you at? Stick up for me, all these other bank robbers, would you please riot in the streets to support, why they're mistreating me, trying to arrest me? You know what I mean? It's like, what on earth? These people are just so whacked. You're exactly right. It is their livelihood. That's what they are. That's the only reason they're still alive. Like, the Democratic Party, it's the only reason they're still around is because, the only reason they're still around is because of that chant that they release. I have no idea what you're talking about. Is there any relevance to what we're saying here? It is lawlessness. That's exactly what it is. It's a spirit of lawlessness. So, concerning this right here, I don't really know what to say about this because I don't have, any information on, people that are here legally being detained. I don't have that information. I do know that they're revoking some people's, because they fit certain criteria. And that's what, so, I mean, and then you also have the concern of like, there's going to be casualties of war. That's a reality. There's going to be casualties of war. What I mean by casualties of war is there's going to be oftentimes, you want to make sure that you can protect the innocent. However, Biden created this, and the mess that it has to be sometimes be to take the drastic measures that Trump is taking is not to be blamed on Trump. It's to be blamed on Biden, because they're the reason we have this problem. You can't ignore it. And that's why these people are rioting in the streets, because these are the people that Trump is trying to get rid of. It's all like, the illegals that are rioting. So, exactly. It's like, what are you going to do? No, I don't see the crash coming in June, but I'm not saying that it's not going to either. I almost expect it to be here any day, guys. Especially that's why I made this video, because everything is changing. It's no longer about to change. It's changing. I don't know if the markets are reacting to this right now, or if this is just a normal, drop that we're experiencing. Could be normal, potentially, but I'm expecting the markets to begin responding to some of the stuff that's happening in our country soon. Especially if it escalates. And here's the thing. Everybody, I have no idea what this is about. I'm so sorry, but I don't know what that's about. Maybe you can clarify, but everybody has been saying, wait a minute, I'm keep pulling up the wrong comments. Everybody has been saying they feel like something is we're on the edge. Like we are right on the edge. Everybody's been saying that. They're like, you can feel it in the air, guys. You could feel it in the air. They won't give them their adrenochrome unless they cause chaos. They aren't even human, probably. I have no idea what all that's about, man. Newsom is suing the White House. You gotta be kidding me. That is crazy. Warren says silver hit $36. Another big marker. We were told XRP boost must be close. What do you think, John? So excited. I sold all my XRP, Warren. And yes, I am very excited. Booyah, 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 booyah. So, I don't know what you mean by God's truth is a frequency, not a perspective. God's truth is definitely a perspective, actually. We were actually talking about that today. God's perspective. I gotta stay away from the whole frequency stuff, man. Like people get off into some new age stuff with all that, and I don't get into new age witchcraft type stuff. So, let's see here. So several people had asked, are we still on for the $1.40? I mean, if you are, Alerta said, are we still on for the $1.42? Again, if you are, I'm stewarding that prophetic word faithfully, guys. I absolutely believe in what God told me. So Yes, exactly. It is definitely. What do you think we should be holding for now while waiting to buy in the XRP? Buy limit orders, because the crash is going to happen fast and it's going to be over pretty quickly. I don't know how quickly. I think somebody else had said that we're going to have enough time to buy, but listen, I don't rely on that. I'm not going to take my chances unless God gives, I saw the crash happening fast and I saw myself scrambling to get in. That's what I'm looking for. Another person said God told her $1.40. Who are you referring to? Gino says Prophet Lovi is in trouble. Then pray for him. Pray for him. Absolutely pray for him. I have 20 million Shiba. Keep or trade? I mean, oh, nice. Give me 1 second here. I don't know. Have you guys heard any prophetic words about Shiba Inu? Because didn't the prophets say the meme coins were all going to crash and they'd be worthless? But Doge is a meme coin, and I think wasn't that one of the ones that's expected to go up? Well, I've seen XRP and Shiba tied to one another, so just sit on it. Wait a minute. How are you referring to them being tied to one another? Like, is this like prophetically, or is this just like cryptonomics type stuff? And where did you hear about Shiba Inu EN3 service? Nothing on Shiba on any of my main listens. Fireside Grace said Shiba would take off after dropping dramatically. God showed me Shiba at 30 cents or 0.30 cents. I guess that's just 30 cents. Luna, XLM, Shiba, and XRP. Oh, crypto chatter. That's where you've heard it. Okay. Well, thanks for clarifying. Wait a minute. I didn't get anything about 8 zeros on Shiba. What are you referring to? Yeah, I'm familiar with money on the move. I like how you described it though. YouTube channel, two men who hear from the Lord, one prays in tongues and hears directly the voice of God about the markets. Okay. Prophetic insight, Pastor Greg. Okay. Yeah, like I don't know, man. Like we've been talking about Pastor Greg lately. I don't know. You know, God's apparently been speaking to him for 3 years now on crypto, and I think that's great. And I'm thankful for but he doesn't think there's going to be a dip. And he's basically telling everybody to not sell your XRP right now. And I mean, you know, that's definitely playing it safe for sure. Pastor Greg Laurie. What? What about him? Money on the move mentioned to move from USDT to USDC. So first of all, I don't know if you have a buy order right now. You know, like I did not get any insight on any cautions with USDT right now for this particular move. And so so anyhow, like I was when I was sharing about how to set buy limit orders, you know, you want to choose the pair that has the largest trading volume because you need liquidity to be able to make those orders go through. That's why people favor the largest exchanges in the world. The larger the exchange, the better your orders will be filled because liquidity matters. So my wife heard from the Lord saying, whatever you invest in, I will bless. And the Lord told her to quit her job this month. And she's worried, but the Lord said, watch and see what he does. Oh, okay. Whatever you invest in, I will bless. That's wild. Definitely, you know, this is what I tell people. When it's major life moves, you want to be prayerful in asking for confirmation. I actually have written a section in my book where I talk about how the devil can give you emotions and take away emotions from you. So the enemy can try to suffocate your drive, your fire, your, you know, joy, all these different things. And then he can also give you certain emotions if he's wanting to try to lead you in a different direction. And then God can do the same thing. And that's why when we pray, when we are feeling a certain way, you have to test those feelings. You have to test what it is that you're experiencing, because a lot of people just go with their feelings and they don't really know where they're coming from. They just trust them. So, okay, XLM at 11 cents again. We've heard that from others. Pastor Manny said there would be another dip possible around the 70-cent range before it starts the uprise. Last I can remember recently, that's exactly what we're seeing. I saw as low as 81 cents. That's possible. That sounds, you know, could be accurate for sure. I just went through this experience this week with my son on his graduation day. Yeah, probably referring to testing what you're feeling, and you have to pray for sure. No, I never said that Sheba would have 8 zeros before taking off. You might just be confusing me with someone else. However, I'll be honest with you, after this dip, I will be probably no longer trying to maneuver with, USDC and USDT at all, because they're all tied to the US dollar. And the dollar's prophesied to crash at some point. And remember, that's why Joseph Z had said XRP is going to be the most stable, because the whole point is to hold XRP. And this is what I don't think a lot of people realize. The whole point to hold XRP is a lot of people are talking about the wealth transfer. However, God's also talking about like your food transfer, like your ability to have food on the table. Like it's basically going to be, it's going to hold value while other things are crashing. So these are like super important. And that's actually why I came on here to do this video, is because I'm just telling people these riots on the streets is what was prophesied. Okay. It's what was prophesied. And I want to pull up to you a prophetic word from Barry Wunsch, the Canadian Hammer. I shared this on September 15th, 2024. Basically, prepare for battle with me, armor up, prophetic word. I saw civil unrest and rioting on the streets. Okay. Massive, savage attacks on innocent men and women by heartless, bloodthirsty, demonized, illegal immigrants. Hello. Authorities watching but not responding. Hello. Is anybody paying attention here? Look at this. Evil ones doing so with hopes to provoke Russian retaliation and World War III. Okay. This is like all markets are going down. They will be left with nothing. The cabal, the globalists, the markets are going down. They will be left with nothing. I saw the Lord about to bankrupt them. This is exactly what's happening, guys. Hello. Like this is what we're talking about. So if any of you guys are saying there's not going to be any market crash or any of these things, yeah, that's exactly what we're talking about, right? Yeah, these are what we call prophets, guys. Okay? So that's exactly right. Any stable coin is going to crash that's tethered to the dollar, right? No. I disagree, because the dollar is prophesied to crash. The dollar is prophesied to crash. USDC and USDT would not crash along with crypto because they're tethered to the dollar. That's why they're called stable coins. They don't fluctuate in price. They are actually money. So I actually completely disagree with this comment. Chapin, I would just urge you, I completely disagree. That's the whole point, is that they're tethered to the dollar. So they don't fluctuate in price. So if, and even traditionally when crypto crashed, stable coins stay the same. So that's completely false. Completely false. So, XRP will replace the dollar. Are we going to be able to use debit cards with XRP? Listen, somebody's going to have to make some changes quickly, right? And also, let me tell you this, okay? Because I do want to point this out as well. Let me just do this right here. because a lot of people don't necessarily understand this. We actually went through this. We went through this a while back. Basically, yeah, you're exactly right. I would transfer to USDT, USDC, and use it on a debit card that they give you, right? But let me tell you how this works so that I can show you. Because right here, there we go. So if you have, let's say XRP is worth $10 a coin, okay? And then USDC or USDT. We'll just make sure that's either USD, USDT, or USDC because it's basically all the same. One's just a digital version of it. So, but watch this. XRP, this is what's going to happen. Let's just say XRP is $10 a coin. The US dollar is $1, right? But let's say the dollar gets cut in half. And now the dollar will still be worth $1, but the point is the value of $1 will basically be worth 50 cents because that's how currency is measured. The dollar will always be the dollar. However, it'll cost you twice as much now to pay for gas, bubble gum, or to be equal to the euro or all these other things, right? So now that dollar is worth 50 cents. Well, your XRP, let's say it doesn't change in value at all. It'll now be worth $20 because does that make sense? Because the XRP stayed the same in value while the dollar itself crashed. And so if you're looking at the dollar value of XRP, if it was once $10 and the dollar itself was cut in half, well, now XRP would be worth $20. That's my point. So now when you load a crypto debit card, for example, now one XRP that used to give you $10 is now giving you $20. So now you could load one XRP onto your crypto debit card and it'll be valued at $20 where it used to be valued at $10. I hope this makes sense. And I hope you can still, were you guys able to see all that? There you go. You're welcome. Because that's the beautiful thing about, so Dustin said, what about PAX G? You were talking about this, John, in regards to a stable coin tied to gold. If the dollar crashes, gold should go up. Yes, it's something to diversify in for sure. In fact, but remember, okay, if the dollar crashes and XRP is taking off, you don't want to pull out of XRP. If you're taking some profits, there you go. Okay, there you go. So if you're taking some profits, though, out of XRP, which is wise when you're, when crypto's rising, it's important to take profits. So if you're going to take profits, instead of putting them into a stable coin like USDC or USDT, PAX G, that's why I brought it up. Because if you're taking profits now, think about this. Let's say you pulled out $10,000 in XRP profits, where you're just like, you know what? It rose to $5, $10, whatever, it would take to get you $10,000, whatever. And you just scraped what we call scraping a portion of your holdings to just take some profits. And so you got 10K sitting over here if you put it in a stable coin like USDT or USDC, and then the dollar crashes, now your 10K of profits is now worth 5K. And that's the point. You want to hold it in. This is why I do this content, guys, because listen, everybody has concerns about stable coins. You know, let me see here. Somebody else said something about that too. Yeah, so you said that Luna had a stable coin crash, and Kevin B said USTC crashed because the algorithm broke and printed LUNC nonstop. I don't think USDT or USDC have anything similar. So there you go. You've got like reasons for why one would be affected and not another. Who was it? We're going to go and we're going to pull up a little screen here. Let's go on a journey. I'm trying to find. I think I found it. It was hard to find it. Here's Tether. Here's Tether's all-time. I'm not quite sure what happened in 2017 here, where Tether got down to 92 cents. Now this is USDT. Okay, this is the stable coin. So there have been some minor fluctuations. Right here is $1. Like this dip was $1. Oh, sorry. 97 cents here, 97 cents. So I don't know what all these kinks were back here, but you can see since 2020, it has definitely ironed itself out. And so, you know, I'm sure other people could speak to this more, but basically, the way that I understand this is that these stable coins, USDT, USDC, are supposed to be backed. And I remember when Tether, there was some calling into question about whether the liquidity was actually there to back it. And so, yeah, there's a lot of people who have called into question USDT. And that's the thing, is I'm not really, that's where people would have to make some big changes, like not people, but exchanges. And like when Bubalina had said earlier about the how could we still load a debit card or whatever, like these are changes that would need to be made very quickly in an event that things began to change drastically. However, these changes could potentially be done pretty quickly, where a lot of these, debit cards can be loaded with various coins. They would just have to throw XRP in the mix. I'm sure that when it's rising and it's going to be a very valuable token, I'm sure that a lot of people are going to want to make their things loadable with XRP, because they know that the value is just going to potentially go up. It's a strong value coin, just like Bitcoin. Everybody wants, for you to load up your Cash App. Everybody's using Bitcoin now, Cash App, PayPal, and it's because of the value of the coin. So when XRP begins to kind of, do its wonders, everybody's probably going to want to do that anyway, but they're going to need to do it. And that's kind of what I'm talking about. I just kind of shared my opinion on gold, specifically related to PAX G, because that's tethered to gold. But yeah, gold is historically strong. Hit that like button, guys. Only takes a second. Only takes a second. People have to use wisdom when buying things with cryptocurrency. When the dollar crashes, there will be vultures trying to take what the Lord provided for the ones who listen. That's true. I don't know, Hope. I really want to get like some prophetic words on this, because I remember watching a video of Kim Clement saying, don't invest in gold. I remember him saying that in one of his videos recently, and I was really taken aback by it, because there's all these prophetic words about gold doing very well right now. And so this may be a short-term thing that God is doing, but maybe in the long term, maybe that's what Kim Clement was seeing. However, I will be respectful and say, or conservative concerning the prophetic, because some people, well, John Paul Jackson said it would go way up, but it has gone way up. It has gone way up. And that's my point. What if that's already been fulfilled? And what if what I'm saying is true concerning the short term? Right? So, yeah, Bubalina remembers the Kim Clement prophetic word. Kevin says, I'm buying silver over gold right now. Well, there's a lot of people that are saying that's, and then, so what I was saying about being conservative about the prophetic, because sometimes prophets will say certain things just because they don't see. They'll be like, I'm not, instead of saying I'm not seeing anything about gold, they might be like, I'm not feeling the whole gold thing, because he was talking. I think Kim Clement was prophesying about other things to invest in. And I think he was basically saying they're going to outperform gold. I think, so sometimes when prophets are saying things, it's hard to know what they're seeing that provoked them to say that. And it doesn't necessarily mean gold's going to be bad. However, did you guys hear, we just did a video about this recently. Did you guys hear about they created gold. They created it. They did this pressurized thing where they pushed, these things together, and they expedited or accelerated a many, many year process that makes gold. And they basically made it on their own. And so, exactly, from CERN, exactly. That's some crazy stuff. So if they're just popping out gold now, like it's nothing, well, the supply and demand just completely changes if they can just print gold. It's crazy. So, listen, guys, I appreciate scripture, but like a rhema word is what God is speaking in this season. And like those words that God wrote about in the Bible could have been, like, you got to remember, like, we're listening to what God is saying in this season. Like I think there was also scriptures about donkey fur. Like I'm probably just pulling something out of a hat right now, but my point is that I'm not going to be wearing donkey fur. You know what I mean? Like it. So anyway, all right. I hope it makes sense. All right, there you go. He just found the prophetic word. Listen, I have to jump off here, but everything is changing. Everything is changing. Everything is changing, and it's not going to be long before I think we see a fast, rapid acceleration of the events that are unfolding right before our eyes. Things that have been prophesied. These illegal aliens. I just read you the prophetic word from Barry Wunsch. So keep this in mind, guys. Be blessed. Talk to you soon.